Service Commission to come and give us their remarks. So, someone from TSC, I hope he's around or she is around already. And as they come, haezi kuja tu hivyo, kindly stand there. Simama tu hapo. Tunaomba usimame tu hapo. Unajua watu wametoka lunch, lazima tuchangamke, si ndio? Rudi tu nyuma kidogo. We want to see you, we want to see how TSC works. And you know TSC are learned friends, si ndio? Not like us, sometimes sisi tuko pale mashinani. These are our friends from big offices. Ukiwaona na suti, that is their lifestyle. Na sisi our lifestyle ni ile ya venye tunapenda. And so we have to make him walk like a suit. Sindio? Yes, hivi pole pole and kindly walk like your clothing, like your dress. Exactly. We want him to catwalk. Ibatu, we want him to Yes, now you can come. Welcome very much, sir. Come and give us your remarks.
How are you? How are you, Ni? I had a honorable member of parliament explaining, I think it is Dr. Tom Ojeda, explaining the difference between a learned Fred and an educated Fred. I think I'm an educated Fred. From his discussion, I'm not a learned Fred. But all of us, whether you are learned or educated, you have been to school. And I think that's the most important thing. My name is Peter Kega from Teacher Service Commission, Directorate of Teacher Professional Management. This is not my first time to be here. I think it's the second time. And I am glad because when I saw the numbers, I told Joseph, hey, today you are too many. Akaniambia, we are expanding. And I think that should be a clap for all of us. Kindly clap for yourself. Now, you are also a messenger. Bring the others we have left out there on board. We need to work together. Normally, my friends from the ministry did very good presentations. And I must apologize, I was not there when everything began because I was in another very important meeting, which I had to be. Actually, I might be the only officer left in the office currently. As he explained, people out there are doing retooling and many other activities. I was told to talk about what are we doing on transition. You know, I always tell people, ask people, our business is only one, the teacher. Surprisingly, Bwana Joseph, the teacher, when we talk about the teacher, somebody would say, it should be the simplest. Imagine all the things that the minister talked about, from dishing account to the buildings, everything, including scholarships. And as people, we come to say the teacher. However, it is the teacher that elicits a lot of emotions. It is the teacher that attracts all, I don't know whether to say condemnation. At times I say, maybe it's because we are all attached to teachers. At times it becomes emotional because you think about your daughter, your son, your sister, your mother probably, and you'd say has been looking for pension all over. And therefore, even when we make presentations, questions do not come from the actual presentations. It goes personal. And I accept that. There are times I tell people, I yearn for the times I was an employee here 7 years ago. I've written that curriculum for 10 years. And you know, at KICD, everybody respects, we say, the nerve of education. Everybody respects that. But when you go to the other side, you find other challenges. Let me say, we are not so much concerned about transition to senior school. Why? Because it is important that we all know that currently we are having a 130,899 strong staff working team teachers in secondary schools who will soon convert into senior school. As such, when you think about what is happening at junior school, and students said that there were other arrangements on where to domicile junior school. And I think that's where the challenge came in. Not the challenge of coming to having junior school as a separate or domiciled in primary, but of course we were capitalizing on the staff in secondary school when it was agreed that the people who should be teaching junior school should have qualifications for secondary school teaching. Of course, as recent as yesterday, we closed an advert of 2,082 positions in secondary schools to ensure that, of course, we continue ensuring that we are replacing all those who are transiting. Why is it important? We want to balance. One, you need to remember, all the donors we have talked about, they never take care of teachers, the remuneration. The people who take care of our teachers is you and I when we pay the taxes. And therefore, the government or TSC will employ as many teachers as you are able to pay for. The ball is back to you. Are you one of those people who are hiding and not paying taxes? If you are, probably you are contributing to that. The same case applies to me and everybody else. But as we have said, remember right now, we do not have Form 1. We are waiting for them to get in next year. And therefore, we can comfortably say our teachers in secondary schools are actually underutilized to some extent. That does not mean that even if they are being utilized, we still do not have room for improvement and employ more teachers. You realize that before we began the grade 7, we were doing additional teachers for secondary schools. But these days, we said, hey, there is a problem. We still have a shortage of a deficit of 72,000 teachers plus in junior school. And that is a matter of concern. Of course, the Ministry of Education, together with the TSC, we are working to see how we can, again, also utilize the teachers who are in primary school now that the number of classes have been reduced from 8 to 6. We are working on all that. It is also good to report that the new staffing norms have just been approved. The new staffing norms, yes. Let's call it the CBE compliant staffing norms have just been approved. And therefore, we are working around the clock to establish exactly what are the deficits based on the new staffing norms. And from there, we can be able to place it on the table and to the stakeholders and to the government that, behold, the deficit in senior school. We already know what is happening in junior school. What are we doing? What are the other interventions? Apart from employing, and we are calling upon you to continue helping us lobby for more. Because when it comes to Parliament and deciding where do we take the money, lobbying is expected. Joseph and your team, you have a duty to lobby for more funds to employ more teachers across the board. Retooling of teachers. We are preparing our teachers. I have had a concern. But I want to say this. Why do we do the retooling? We do the retooling because as a stopgap measure, as the universities and other colleges train teachers who are CBE compliant. The question is, do we get rid of the 400,000 teachers who are like you and I, who were trained on the old 844? No. What do? We do retooling. The question would be, who will do the retooling? The retooling exercise is conducted using a multi-agency approach. What do I mean by that? KICD here prepares the slides. prepares what to be done together with the NEC. Why? Because they are the ones who did the curriculum. Then from there, we collect people from all corners. KICD, NEC, Ministry of Education, especially Quality Assurance and Standards, TSC, KISE, KEMI, and all that. We come together. We use those slides to train those people. We tell them, now you are the master trainers. We release them to the county level, whereby they train our, what we call the TOTs. And who are the TOTs? The TOTs comprise of, one, the quality assurance standards at the county and sub-county levels. Two, the CSO, now not the community something, the curriculum support officers. The curriculum support officers. And there is another clique of teachers we call champion teachers, who are performing exemplary. They are taken and are trained. Then we tell them, behold, move to the zones and train teachers. Now, I want you to tell me, when you go to Barigo and you start and you tell us no training is taking place, the curriculum is not being implemented, they know nothing. I am wondering, what miracle do we now perform? If those people cannot be able to train those people properly, who else can? And I want to come back to here. As I am speaking to you, some of you are dosing. As I am speaking to you, some of you are online. As I am speaking to you, some of you are attentive, majority. Isn't it? That happens at every level, by the way. Including when we are training those teachers. Including when we are training the master trainers. Including when we go for TOTs. Now, if, unfortunately, some of those happens now to be the ones in charge of a certain training center, I am sure there will be a problem. So I am not defending that there are no weak areas on that. But what do we do then? The most important thing, which the person who raised this also brought forth, is about monitoring. We still have our CSOs in the field. We still have our quality assurance and standards in the field. We still have you, who has got a right to go there, notice, and write to the commission and say, there is no CBC being implemented at school A or B. So that if it means punishing some people, reprimanding some people, we do it. If it means creating a special training for that specific area, we do it. But I can assure you, there is nobody outside that now, people I have told you who participate in the training, who will come and perform miracles for us. So we are calling upon you, please, support us. Don't say outside, like in here, see in-house. Don't say outside there that there is no retooling going on and the teachers are not aware. Come to us, tell us there is a gap here. But we are trusting God that as we continue doing this, we know we have not gone back to primary school since we left primary. Why? Because we have been moving with the curriculum from grade or level to the other. And therefore, there are many people, for example, in primary school who have since been employed and have not gone through the retooling. What we have been entrusting is that the CSOs and the quality assurance and standards officers who are on the ground will continue inducting those teachers, even as we rush to finish up with the senior school and go back and continue doing what we do best. We still accept to continue being told there are gaps here, and we are very sensitive and aware that there is more that requires to be done. Increased supervision through PC, TPAD and lesson observation tools. Yes, actually part of the reason why I did not start with you in the morning, we have been having a virtual stakeholders engagement for our teacher performance management policy, the reviewed TPAD standards, and the new lesson observation tools. We want to ensure that it is more objective. We want to ensure that it is evidence-based. We want to ensure that it is friendly. We want to ensure that our teachers embrace this, because performance management is the way to go. And therefore, we have done that. We have reviewed that. Among those things that we have been told this morning is, why are you using the learners to report on the teacher's presence and absence in school? And we asked our stakeholders, give us a solution. If we say we put, what do you call them? The ones we touch in and out. What do you call them? The biometric. You know, the minister will say, what? Where the hell do we get the money? UTSC, you must know how to supervise your teachers. But who is benefiting from the teaching service? The learner, isn't it? What's wrong if the learner tells us, innocent, after I do the actions, innocent that I was taught today, I was not taught today. Because as we argue, being in school does not convert to teaching, isn't it? Being in class does not convert to teaching. So who tells us whether you are taught or not? The supervisor? The learner. The learner is the one who is supposed to tell us whether he was taught or not. But it is still out there for people to discuss more and tell us whether there is a better way. We are ready to do that. The other thing that we are seriously working on is staff balancing. Right now, there is something that the TSC and the minister are working on upgrading. What is upgrading of teachers? We are thinking about those teachers who could be excess in primary school. They have met the qualifications of teaching in a secondary school, but for one reason or the other, they have not been able to take those courses. Can we probably offer some training, and these guys fit into our junior school, for example? Those are some of the things that we are thinking about too. As somebody also said, you will come to Nairobi, you will find that there are excess teachers. And those are your wives and your husbands. And you don't want them to be touched. And when I'm talking about Nairobi, I am talking of any other major town in this country. Believe you me, Bwana Joseph, now si wamenijua, na hatukuwa nao last time. I can assure you, before I leave here, somebody will have come to make an appeal. Now you can see what TSC is facing. Moving a teacher, an excess teacher from point A to point B becomes very difficult. The only place that is very easy to take them is if you are in Kiambu Town, if you are around Lemuru, and kuna mahali huko chini, areas where there is Moi Girls Kamangu, that area normally attracts hardship allowance. They all want to go there. And once they land, they don't want to move out. There is also some little place somewhere in Makuyu area of Muranga. They all want to go there because of that extra coin. But tell them to go to Northeastern and they get that free, now the money. They don't want. If not that, they want to stick to the towns. Some of them are untouchables. Because when you touch, they will touch you. They will touch Joseph. Joseph will come and say, I know Peter. And now out of that, Joseph becomes my enemy because I am saying it's not possible. So please, even as you throw stones at us, appreciate what we go through. Some of them are our brothers and sisters too. And when I tell them, there are policies. Because when a teacher requests transfer, the head teacher would say, with the suitable, where the hell does the head teacher get suitable replacement? It comes back to TSC. Now, who is this who want to leave Nairobi and go to Kitui? So that somebody from Kitui can come to Nairobi because my hubby works here. And then somebody will go to the media and say, TSC is not sensitive about family entity. But TSC is interested in that child who requires education. Did I hear somebody talking about equity? Exactly. So please, as we are a public entity, we expect condemnation, but appreciate what we are going through. Promotion of TPD is another way to ensure that teachers are ready for transition. You and I know what happened before 2022. We had TPD, teachers were complaining about the 6,000, and there were some promises that tutaondoa. Alafu, of course, funds will always be will be limited. Now, teachers don't want to pay. We are coming up with ways of offering the same without payments, or whichever way, maybe reducing the amount. We had to get as stakeholders an engagement to rethink about TPD framework. I don't know whether some of you participated in that engagement in May. Anybody who gave views? Nobody. We came all across every region. Thank you very much. At least there are a few people who participated. Of course, not everybody can fit in. And the purpose is, how do we work it out so that, of course, if you are a professional in whichever way, you agree that continuous professional development is mandatory, isn't it? Whether you are a lawyer, whether you are an accountant, whether you are an architect, whether you are an engineer, and unfortunately, when it comes to teachers, everybody is up in arms to say, teachers have been knowing these things, they have been teaching these things, what is new are you bringing? Then we say, when we were learning, I remember I did my master's in 2000, we were typing our thesis. Kuna mtu amesema, yes, mimi sikuenda kufundisha kwanza. I was also looking for greener pasture, so I finished my college and I went ahead to do my master's. And today, we are now talking about ICT integration. We are talking about remote learning methodologies. We are talking about, he talked about live streaming. How does somebody who does not have any ICT knowledge does these things? And we are dealing with the learners who no longer require to go to class for ICT. They know your gadgets better than you know them. Now imagine when the teacher does not have that knowledge. When we say we have always been teaching these things, definitely those teachers will not be ready to teach senior school. But of course we are not going to give up on them. We are working on a learning management system to ensure that some of these things we upload and we train them on how to get in there and get the knowledge. We know that during our days, I know my father used to tell me, ukifukuzwa shule, that's the end of you. I will never come to school to listen to your indiscipline. Have no time for that. Lakini today, we are colluding with our children to fight the teacher. And when he comes home, he'll beat you up. Yes. When there will be no teacher to treat vibaya, who will be mistreated? The father and the mother. So how do we prepare that teacher to be able to deal with 21st century learner without teacher professional development? We need to support this. We need to work on this and support the commission when it insists about the need for the continuous learning of our teachers. And of course, through that we also have, through SECIP and now CKIP, we shall be having what we call school-based teacher support system, SBTSS. What is it about? It's about us as teachers training each other. It's about the teacher visiting your class, my class, seeing my weaknesses. We sit down and strategize on how I can improve. It's about creating what we call community of practice among teachers. All this requires retraining, and that is what we are doing. I know I have not said much, but I know I am going to listen. I have elicited quite a number of reactions. But allow me to say that be confident. We are working on it. There will be no gaps in senior schools. Yes, we still have challenges in junior school because of the teachers, but the government is still working as it always does. It's recruiting teachers on internship. Then after a year, they are saying it's their right to be employed. Si ndivyo? Akikuja kuajiriwa kama intern, oh, you have mercy on me. You have mercy. The next minute, my right to be employed on PNP. And I'm not saying that is bad, but you can see the dynamics. Nobody is saying stop internship. But the moment they get there, even when the government does not have money and we say, can we go for 2 years? Probably they say no. It's our right to be on PNP. And we acknowledge they are our children. We also want them to be dependent. We want them to be financially capable. But we can only do what we are able to do through our taxes. But the confidence that you need to have is that, one, we are sensitive on whatever issues that come forth, we work on them. Two, we are aware of the transition to senior school, and we are working around the clock to ensure that no learner will be denied that very important education that he requires to be independent. I rest my case for now. Thank you.
I think we can do it better. He deserves better than that. You know, when we talk about matters education for our children, we are parents, sindio? Yeah, and so anyone who talks matters education, especially for our young ones, we really feel that they touch our hearts. And so thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful insight. So the next, we want to welcome our friend from Southeastern Economic Bloc. Welcome, karibu sana. As she starts coming, let's motivate her. Yes. Karibu sana.
My name is Faith Muthoki, and I'm here to talk about an opportunity. I'm not going to talk about what we have done. I'm just providing an opportunity that as CSOs that we can use in coordinating our matters on the ground. And I'm here representing the economic blocks. So I represent a block called the Southeastern Kenya Economic Bloc. I'm the acting CEO, and that is Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni counties. And so we have 7 economic blocks in the country. And maybe I'll just mention the 7 of them. And so the first one is SEKEB, which I've already said, the Southeastern Kenya. Then we have SEREB, that is the Central Region. We have the Lake Region Economic Bloc, which covers 14 counties. SEREB covers, I think, is 7. We have NOREB, that's a North region. We have NAKAEB, and that is Narok and Kajiado, although they are changing to MA because they are including Samburu. And we have the Jumuiya ya County za Pwani that covers the coastal counties, and then we have the Frontier Counties Development Council covering the northeastern counties. And Nairobi is not in an economic block, it stands alone. And so these blocks are very helpful in coordination of some of the things that we are talking about today. And if I talk about an example of SECEB, where I am, we have sector groups. And one of the sector groups is in education. And so when we are discussing matters education, the blocks are formed by the counties, and the counties have similarities among themselves. And so when it is matters education, then you find the issues that are affecting the 3 counties that I am in are very similar. And so we come together and see what can we do together. And we are very careful and keen not to duplicate what the counties are doing. So we want to do to fill the gaps that the counties are not, like achieving. And so we are not going to discuss matters that, like how are we going to employ ECD teachers. We can discuss that, but the counties go and do the implementation. So like we have an economic blueprint for the block and an investment vision. And one of the sectors we looked at was education. And so we had the people from education meet and see what are the gaps in education sector in our region. And they identified. So we have the data of this is how it looks like. These are the gaps. Then asking ourselves, how do we fill in these gaps? And so that coordination is very helpful. Like I'm listening and thinking, when you're talking about capacity building, instead of doing capacity building sessions in 47 counties, you can actually do them in 7 regions. And you coordinate with the CEOs of the economic blocks, and they get you the relevant people from the counties, and they come together for that kind of capacity building. So it's an opportunity. I look at the blocks as very helpful institutions or entities of reaching to the counties without necessarily doing the 47 of them, because they've come together and they have formed the blocks. They have, like for our block, I said there are 3 counties. We have the governors in the summit. So the governors chair the summit. They alternate in chairing the summit. And so we have the sector groups that meet and identify the priorities, the gaps, the challenges. And when the summit meets, we present. Now the committees present and say, this is what we have identified as the gaps and as the priorities in the block that we can do jointly. And so if then the governors will look at them and they'll give us the input and say, you can go ahead and work on that. If you are a partner, we have identified like investment opportunities in education sector. And so when you think about investing, instead of doing an investment in the 3 counties, then you can specialize in one. Like if you're doing the specialized units of centers of excellence, we can agree, Machakos, you're going to have an center of excellence in this, Kitui in this, Machakos in this, and then you don't have every county coming up with the same center of excellence. And so then the Machakos people, if we have a center of excellence in Makueni that is doing a specialization in something, then the people in the region know this is our center of excellence. So when they are going there, they're not feeling like they're going to a different county. It is our thing. And that way, then we end up reaching to many of our population. And we are looking at the TTIs. What can we specialize in the TTIs? There are things that we have looked at and said, we need to work together with, especially KSC. There was one issue with NITA. People talked about the certificate of recognition, just identifying that there are many people who have grown through entrepreneurship and they have learned skills. You take the car to the garage and there are these people who are always working with the mechanic and they are being trained. They may never go to an institution to be trained, but they have developed the skills. That way then they can be, you can give, I don't know whether it's test them, how you test them, and then you give them the certificate that they qualify for. We can do tailor-made courses, like I've mentioned, and I'm just mentioning some of the priority areas that have been identified in collaboration with the relevant bodies. So, as CSOs and as government entities, I look at the blocks as a very helpful and a very, there's an opportunity for coordinating your activities. In our region, if you want to meet the three counties, the education department of the three counties, if you liaise with me, then I will liaise with the counties, and they are going to convene a meeting. Then you come and have a discussion, and then they'll feel we are having common things. They know each other, they understand the region, they understand each other well, then they'll be saying, yeah, this is what we are doing, so can you do this, and we do this. So that creates an opportunity for coordination and a collaboration with economic blocks. So I had something prepared about the priorities in our area, but I told him, since I'm just talking about the blocks, I'm not going to talk about SECEB. I just want to create awareness of the economic blocks so that when you're thinking about implementing projects and reaching out to the counties, then there's also another avenue that you can use to reach out to the counties and to implement the projects that you're implementing in. And so I think I'll just say that, unless there'll be a question later, then I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was short and clear. At least now we know more about economic blocks and where we belong. Every province knows where you belong, where you are, and the block that you'll work together with. So thank you very much. At this juncture, I want to welcome questions. So do you have questions? Yes. Good, thank you. So we want to, let's see by show of hands how many questions we have so that you can. Okay, now, yes, I think, yes, we have 5, I can see 5. So maybe we can start from this far. Pale nyuma. Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This question goes to Mr. Kega, TSC. Very important that you've talked about it. It's a very elaborate presentation. We acknowledge that. And we know that in every class we have slow learners, where those who are disinterested and those joyriders. In every place we have that. But this is a question that is actually based on the technical subjects that I've actually tried to look at. We have technical subjects like woodwork, building construction, metalwork, electricity, media technology, dance, theater and film, sports and science. These are areas, I think you can agree with me that we've not had teachers on those areas. But it is now that you're trying to put that into the TTCs and the universities, but still we lack the capacity to have that. But we have people who are willing to train in that area. So what is TSC doing really to ensure that they have brought in professionals? I was actually looking at the curriculum design of grades 7, 8, and 9. There is an issue on architecture. There's some area, substrand, I think a strand on architecture. So our teachers may not be able to explain, so these people may not be able to understand. So how are we going to leverage on those professionals to ensure that we have gotten the right professionals to give these skills the knowledge and the skills they require before we have the capacity to have our teachers trained from the universities to ensure that they deliver? So how is actually TSC working with those professional bodies for these particular professionals to get these people given the go-ahead and be able to give instruction to these learners in those senior schools? Because we know that you cannot actually go to any school to teach if you do not have a TSC number, but we have that deficit. What is TSC doing to ensure that they have bridged that gap?
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is to the TSC representative. Okay, this is just from, okay, you said that you did your master's in the year 2000. Probably you must have been a student of Professor Odhiambo Mbai. He used to say that African governments do not have policies. They work on emotions or personal whims of whoever is holding the office. So my question to you is this: what is the Teachers Service Commission policy on junior secondary school intern teachers? Did they sign a 1-year internship or was a 2-year internship program? So what is the TSC policy on junior secondary school teachers internship? Thank you.
My name is Felicitas Chebwarwa from an organization called Mtoto Wetu Africa. We are fighting rights of children from Baringo County. I'm standing on behalf of graduate ECD teachers. My question goes to TSC. As teachers for ECD, myself, I'm graduate. I graduated the year 2012, Bachelor of Education, High Childhood Education. My problem, and on my behalf of teachers for early childhood, my question goes to TSC. We've been issued a TSC number. So my question is this: what is the purpose and what is the function of that TSC number? Because it's like we are not teachers at all. We have the number and we don't know the use. In the year 2006, we have a ECD policy, for ECD policy 2006, and equity quality services for children from conception to 8 years. We have not gone through that policy as teachers because about the curriculum framework, there are some of the things we have not worked on it. Teacher training, we have it, but not put on place since the evolution has brought to changes in ECD. And also health and safety, and also parental engagement. So we as teachers for ECD, we have a problem on that TSC number. How can we absorb to be a full teacher? How can we be absorbed? Because when we say ECD is under county function, it's not full at all. It's not full at all. Tunaambiwa nyinyi mkae kando amwezi lipwa. So for those for the diplomas and the certificate wanaisalipwa na county but not at full, and the TSC number is not working at all at the moment. So I am asking TSC to stop issuing those TSC numbers because we are to tweak us again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm Jacob Ngumi. I have a question to the TSC officer about the salary issues. How are the rest determined in terms of those who are junior teachers, those who are in high school, because they perform the same function, but whether you are an intern or you are a full teacher, and a full employment, you are still a teacher. So how do you address the issue of salary disparities? Number 2 is about the employment process. I know there was a grading system where marks used to be graded. When the TSC is employing teachers, they have some scale of some marks. When they calculate them, they have the total. But now it's a total mess. Because if you apply as an intern, at the end of it all, you'll have more marks than any other teacher who didn't get the internship. So how does that reconcile? How do you reconcile the two scale of adding marks in the employment process? Then the last one is about the MPs who are also getting letters for teachers in schools. MPs go to the TSC, they get letters for employment for teachers. How does that work with the TSC? Is that illegal? Or we can sue you also? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. My name is Peter Owiti from Makueni, and apologize for the TSC. All the questions are directed at you. My question also goes to you. Last time when we had a county dialogue with the Ministry of Education, there was the issue of the hierarchy for comprehensive schools, because they are housing nurseries, ECD, they are junior secondary, and of course the primary, the way it is. How is the hierarchy, and how is this, is there a guideline on how they should be coordinated and who takes instruction from who? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's first give them opportunity to answer those 5 questions, and then we'll continue. Sini sawa sawa? Yeah.
I am not feeling very now safe. I am not feeling very safe there. Okay, I said it is always a motive. Now, mambo ya mshahara, mambo ya terms of service, something I never talked about is now what I'm being asked to answer. Well, thank you, sir, on the issue about subjects, technical subjects. I do not want to preempt what the government and the TSC are doing to ensure that those areas are taught. But something is going on. But it is also wrong to say we do not have those teachers. Maybe you should put it this way. They may not be as many as the demand for the areas are. Because we still have Moi, inaitwa J shule, Moi High School, inaitwa J, Moi Air Base. There is that school. Moi Forces Academy. It offers a range of about 30 curriculum areas. We have Mangu here. And we have even some, there is also, I'm talking about the ones around here. There is Githunguri Technical. Up there. We do have teachers. But the question would be, how many are required to train if such areas attract more people? And that's why now your advice, something that we are working on is coming on board. We are not ignorant of the fact that we do not have enough. I've done teacher recruitment as the deputy director in charge of recruitment for 5 good years. And I know when I say even a teacher of music, a teacher of home science, shule ikishika hivi haitaki kuachilia hata inamulipa pesa nyingi because there are a few. And many of them are now actually at the level of being the principals now. So the ministry is working, the TSC is working in conjunction with those professional bodies. We shall do it. But I said, I will say again, during the National County Dialogue, what are you doing about it? Who is that architect who will lift his work and come to teach? And if he can leave work and come to teach, we only need a diploma at inaitwaje? Kenya, the former Kenya Technical Teachers College at Gigiri, isn't it? And many other. Why are we not encouraging those people with technical subjects who feel that they are jobless just 1 year to become teachers? Because again, this is not about, it's called what? Inaitwaje? Iya unafuata mtu, you learn the trade. Apprenticeship. It is not about apprenticeship. It is about academics. And we are producing people who in the future will not only join the job market but also teach. So we still need people who are not only engineers but are able to teach. Isn't it? Ama mutaniambia kwa sababu I have some local pharmacy, what do you call it, chemist. Is it chemist? Whereby I can sell you headache sijui, what do you call it, headpan, malaria kuina kadhalika. Do I become a doctor? Why are you people wanting to dilute our profession? Let us encourage people that even after getting that technical area and you become a professional, you can take 1 year diploma, become a teacher, and you can do both. You can teach with a TSC number, and you can also continue practicing your trade. So let us market our very own. I am sure majority, because you are not the first person to say that, but I am sure even the person who raised that issue at KICC may not have told anybody, why don't I sponsor you to go and do this and come and teach here? So we have a problem. We have a problem. We have professionals, but we don't have teachers amongst those professionals outside teaching. That's where the problem is. So I will engage all those bodies, but I will give them a caveat. We need teachers. And we need people we can hold accountable when they mistreat our children. And you know how we hold accountable? We withdraw the registration. Aende akafanye mambo yake. Lakini sasa tutakuwa tunaajiri mkora kweli ambaye hajui how to handle children. My friends, please let's not go there. I know we have a challenge, but we want our learners to be taught. We don't want them to work through apprenticeship in school. Let's get the difference. Internship policy, I actually wrote the internship policy. I actually employed the first batches of about 70,000 interns. But yes, internship policy talks about 1 year of internship renewable. So when we talk about extending, it is not an illegality. The policy says 1 year, that's 12 months, which can be extended. And in fact, before this hullabaloo of saying we PNP, what we were doing is we were giving interns certain marks during recruitment. Those who are left, those who are not likely to be absorbed on PNP, we were not releasing them. We were extending the internship until such a time when another opportunity comes, and they were always given priority. Ama kwani unajua any intern who never misbehaved, and therefore the internship was terminated, who is still wallowing in poverty at our internship ended and tukareleasiwa wengine wakaajiriwa. There is no such a case. So even before the clamor for PNP came in, we had already put structures in place to ensure that nobody who gets into internship would go home without a PNP, unless he misbehaves. On that, I must say, the terms of service can never be the same. Please, this is HR things. The terms of service can never be the same. You are employed as an intern, you sign a contract of 1 year, renewable, and with the very high possibilities of actually getting into PNP. What's the difference? So the government said, 1, we do not have money. 2, we want our teachers to be self-reliant. 3, we also want learners to have teachers. Therefore, why can't we agree on a figure? By the way, it began from 10,000 for primary, 15,000 for secondary. Si sasa imepanda based on the availability of funds. But when he is employed on PNP, sasa hiyo anaingia kwa grades as we know them. ECD, I hear you. But please, we owned our own constitution. And we said that the function of ECD is a devolved government. We said that. But again, our constitution mandated TSC is to register teachers. So the county government is supposed to employ those who are registered. Whether they do that or not, that's their business. But they are supposed to employ only those who are registered. And therefore, I feel aggrieved when you say we stop registering them. I don't think it is very fair. But I would also say that even if it is the Constitution is reviewed and the responsibility of employing ECD teachers comes back to the national government, again, it will be based on the availability of vacancies, isn't it? I don't know whether if that one happens, we will be given the teachers, but the buildings and the schools belong to the county government. I wouldn't know. But our work on that is to register them, and if they misbehave with the children they deal with, it is reported to us, and the teacher will go through the disciplinary action. If at such a time, because I think even Presidential Working Party was bringing such issues. If at such a point it comes out that it becomes our responsibility, we shall do the needful. But you are still a teacher, please have that confidence. Again, I think currently we are now having, the diploma we are having is actually training from ECD. And therefore, it is when you come out, those who are coming out will not just be restricted to the ECD function at county level. So we shall have other opportunities. I am not in a position to talk about the ECD policy as it is the one you have referred to. I wish our friends from the ministry have not left, because they have a directorate on ECD, and of course, again, the county government. I will also not talk about comprehensive school. If I talk about it, I will be actually shooting myself on the feet. My role is to employ teachers, create comprehensive schools, tell me who to send. I will send a teacher. But let me not talk about the structures, because actually that is not within our mandate. Our friends left, I wish they were around, they would have at least even consulted and do the right thing. I never got this issue about the differences in salaries, but if it's about the scales, interns don't have scales. The job groups, the grades are for the PNP as they climb up the ladder. Comprehensive schools, maybe we can ask those big guys. ECD policies, allow me not to talk about it, but please allow us to continue registering teachers, because that's our mandate. And be confident you have that TSC number. By the way, I said I work for TPM. People are moving outside the country. We have even written a curriculum, a policy on that. And I can assure you, even if you don't fit there, just like even on secondary and primary, there is a route. People are actually going, and there are demands for teachers. And we are still giving them statements of professional studies to facilitate their going and working. So you need that certificate. You just need it. Don't say you don't need it. Sawa, I am through. No. Should I sit here close?
Hata ukikaa tu, kindly don't go far. Let's give him a few minutes so that maybe he may relax kidogo. We only need 5 more questions, only 5 more, because for the interest of time. And you already have 2 questions here, and the first one is, TSC has been known to be a very professional and transparency and accountable employment. We are witnessing teachers who graduated recently getting employment, leaving behind those who graduated kitambo. Kindly explain that. Yeah. Question number 2, it's about retooling. Retooling of teachers. We've heard about retooling, teachers retooling, we have about head teachers and all that. And now the question goes, we have private school teachers because all we know is that we have private schools and public teachers, but we don't have private students. So what are you planning about the private schools? Because we have seen private schools doing things that are not supposed to be done. And so when we talk of retooling, do you have anything in place about the private schools? And now this one says, to clarify, and says, they are only invited for trainings without maybe offered transport or something of the sort. So nothing to motivate them to come. And do have something in place to make sure that private school teachers attend the retooling activities. Those are the two questions we had here in writing. And so we have one question here, one there for gender balance, 1, 2, and 3 at the, so the other corner we are supposed to have one at that row. So maybe you can share with whoever is closer to you. That row, do we have someone? Okay. We've said 1, 2, 3, and these 2 to make it 5 at the interest of time, kindly.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, and I'm happy that he has mentioned that he employs teachers. Huh? Yes, and he's next to me. Yeah. So I'm Musa Gony. I work for VSO, and VSO we support inclusive education. And one of our major counties is Turkana. So Turkana, we work in the host community and also the refugee community. So in terms of inclusivity, we are working with the refugee teachers within the refugee community. That is Kakuma and Kalobey. And one of the major concerns that I get from Turkana, especially in Kakuma, is that we have the refugee teachers who are qualified from their mother countries, but they've been here for like 2 to 3 years. They are teaching in our school, but they are not recognized. So in terms of employment, because they don't have Kenyan ID. So this is, I think it's a policy issue. And it's a challenge in terms of even being employed, motivation, and even remuneration. That is the first factor. The second one, there are those who have lived here for so many years. They have even gone through our Kenyan school system. But still, being that they don't have the Kenyan ID, they are not recognized. So there's a concern that we have to your department now that you employ teachers. How best can we navigate this so that we could also give them equal chance to be able to contribute to quality education to the Kenyan children? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Eunice Ngonzi. My organization is Kilu Masibio from Makueni County. My question goes to the TSC. And my first question has been asked by the first speaker. By the person who asked my question hapo ndio ilikuwa question yangu ya kwanza. First, let me thank the TSC. Actually, as it has been said, your docket has been the first to be, number one, to have transparency and accountability. What I can request is create a policy that will kick out politics, because our education is our children's future. Influencers with those who say, huyu ni mtu wangu. Corruption starts there, and we know Kenya is number 1 in corruption. When we come to mtu wangu, hata hapo mtu akiimba anakuibia anasema huyu ni mtu wangu. Sheria haijui mtu wangu. When we come to before a teacher is being deployed, there are policies and guidelines. They normally fill in a form that says I can work anywhere in Kenya. So mambo ya town or reserve, one is out because you work with the guidelines and the policies. And if you did not disagree with the guidelines, I don't know where you will bring your argument after. The other The other comment goes to us, we civil society members. We cannot sleep in one bedroom with the government. I've seen in our WhatsApp group, and I'm just trying to create awareness for those people who are requesting for being a member of board before we go to the elections. We would like somebody who is visionary, who can a good mobilizer, who can mobilize people from all over the 47 counties and come to go to the ministry. For example, we have seen ghost schools which have been given our capitations, which is our taxes, and then we can't blame the TSC. The TSC are the ones who say this Agosti school, we congratulate you for that. Because when you say it's Agosti school, we know that the TSC is working. But the ministry gives a certificate, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health satisfied the school because the buildings are for the ministry. And when we come to ghost schools, then we must work and fight the corruption in the ministry, such that the whole of from national level to district level, sub-county level, there are people from national to sub-county. And I will not ask, I'm just creating awareness for those who want to ask for board members. We want a very good mobilizer, and they will not sleep in one bed with the government. So we work as civil society to fight for our future, our children's future. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is David from Kingshaven. My question goes to the TSC. From your presentation, first of all, it is a very, very nice presentation. Well done. Number two, you said there is a deficit of 72,000 plus of teachers for the junior high school. And again, somewhere along the way, you gave us interventions of 4,000 teachers who are non-CBC. So my question is, the 72,000, what is the remedy? What is the way forward of these 72,000? And as well as the 4,000 who are now approaching the retooling process. At the same time, we have teachers who have been trained. They are still in the market. And one of them has just talked behind here. And initially, when you are doing the absorption, you are using year of training. That is for the last time, if I'm not wrong, the last lot that was absorbed Ukweli was 2016, if I'm not wrong. 2016. So with the 2016 means kuna 2017, 18, 19, 2020. Hizo miaka zote watu hawaja kuwa kazini vile ambavyo inastahili. Na kama kuna mmoja amechukuliwa, that means ameapply kwa intern. Na kama huja apply kwa intern, huwezi kuitwa na uko na TSC number. So kama umebaki huko nyuma na hiyo TSC number, where do you go? That is what my concern is. Niwache hiyo ya TSC, niende kwa yule dadangu alikuwa hapa. This is for the economic block. The lady who talked about the economic issues, and you were like, you said you are bringing something on board, eh? Watu wapate kazi. That is what you focused. So, I want to thank you for that, because it's an eye-opener people wajue kwamba kuna vitu kama hizo zinaendelea huko mitaani. My question would be, what is the key area of your blocks that has touched the eye of the consumer? Hizo blocks zote, how many are they? Around 7 or 8. Yeah, hizo blocks zote, as an advocate for them, what do you have that can catch the eye of these consumers on the ground? That's one. Number two, what is the focus of regarding these blocks? According to you, what is their main focus? Were they coming on board to enlighten, to sensitize, or what is the most area of concern? And then lastly, is it possible for these blocks to work with the SENS, or every SEN within the region, so that every SEN, Homa Bay, Makueni, Nairobi, are attached to either one of the blocks somewhere, so that we can also grow from there before you come to this national platform? Thank you.
Last question there. Okay, we are not saying that you won't ask questions. We are saying we are taking 5 per, after 5 questions, another one. So no worry.
Habari yenu asubuhi. Okay. Asante. I needed your attention, kindly. My name is John Dado. I'm here representing Tana River Peace, Reconciliation and Development. Actually, it's a pity that Tana River County is one of the counties coming from ASAL areas, and with a poverty index of around 62% and education levels, illiteracy levels of over 69%. And that is why some of us are trying their very best. You look at me, vijana wangesema nimechapa, but I'm now doing my PhD. I'm in my 3rd year, just to make a difference. The issue I'm bringing in, on board here, I managed to participate in the county-based dialogue sponsored by the Minister of Education, thanking the opportunity to Illuminate Coalition. That was on the 13th of March this year. There were no provisions that day for effective and quality participation of persons with disabilities because of lack of persons who are well versed with special needs education. As we talk right now, we only have one officer who is an SNE, CSO, and then he's also in charge of a sub-county. This is directed to TSC. I'm informed that there were 2 staff who were posted by TSC as SNE civil CSOs, but they did not report there. So we only have 1. So you can imagine if we have such a meeting, the dialogue for education, and then there's no effective participation because of lack of sign language interpreters and what have you. Now, what kind of a meeting are we doing at that level? So TSC kindly take charge of that. Those 2 SNE CSOs, they didn't actually report to Tana River, and they must be somewhere. TSC kindly take charge of that. For a county like Tana River, we shouldn't miss such people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Those are 5 questions. So to start with, let's get an answer from someone from economic block first, and then we continue the TSC. You're requested to be on this side as you kindly.
Thank you. Let me just make a clarification that I did not say that the blocks are there to create jobs. The blocks are entities of the counties. And also another clarification that I made, that all the counties except Nairobi are in an economic block. In fact, some are in two economic blocks. And I have participated in Elimu Yetu Coalition meetings in the southern region. They have invited me for their meeting, and I have attended. So I think there is an opportunity to invite the leaderships or the CEOs of the economic blocks in your the meetings in your counties. So the main purpose of the blocks, I said, is coordination. Coordinating what is happening for economies of scale. So it makes sense to coordinate some things for a few counties where they have common interests or they have common things. It becomes easier for them to discuss what they can do together. So that would be the main purpose of the economic blocks. Like our economic block is enacted by an act in the county assemblies, the Southeastern Kenya Economic Block Act, that was passed in the 3 counties, county assemblies of Machakos and Kitui. So that is what guides us in our operations. Thank you.
Ndugu yangu kutoka Tana River, uliniona huko? Nilikuwepo? Waeka wanasema Mugala muwe na? Bona waniua? Bona unipi haki? Sasa nikilejelea mkutano, jamani, kuna mtu wa vinaitwaje? The sign language. Ako. I mean, the one who can interpret what I'm saying in sign language. But do we have somebody who is getting a disadvantage? Okay, suppose there was, and Joseph has got nobody. Would you blame TSC? Surely. Now, we came for counter dialogue. It was organized by the ministry, yes. And when we came there, I do not know whether there were some people who were in need of that interpretation. However, even if your 2 CSO SNE were there, they may not necessarily be sign language people, interpreters. Why? Because a CSO sign language, there is a range of areas in SNE. So they are not specifically specialists in SNE. But if they were there, probably one would have been requested to come forth. So the issue about lacking somebody to interpret in science is not TSC issue. Ndio maana nasema Mugala muwe na haki umpe. Lakini for the lack of CSOs, SNE in Tana River, that's my business. And I will take it up. I will follow up on the alleged, I will say alleged because I know the directorate that deals with that. The 2 who are posted there, why they never came, and what we are doing about it. And I can assure you, by the grace of God, you will soon get them. On the length of stay, please, somebody has said very well that TSC is very professional. And for sure, we try. We are not perfect, but we try to be very professional. But of course, a constitutional body is a creation of politics, like it or not, but it is. We account to the National Assembly. The National Assembly actually are the ones who evaluate us. Every other time we ask questions and we don't go through the minister. We go, my CEO and my chair stand before those people. You definitely don't want to be at loggerheads with your employer. Why am I saying at my employer? Because the National Assembly, the Constitutional Commission, TSC, is a creation of the Constitution. the Constitution also creates the parliament. You elect the members of parliament, and therefore through the members of parliament, we are supervised. Allow me only to stick to what we do professionally. What happens out there, please don't quote me, don't force me to respond. And therefore, when I make reference to the length of stay, like it has been said here, our recruitment guidelines are always very clear. They are actually an open secret. So when we advertise, like the 2,000 plus teachers that we advertised and we closed yesterday, kila mtu anajua, do I fit in or not? Please, don't push me to respond to any other outside that. I may not be in a position to do it. On the issue of recruiting refugee teachers, my neighbor, CKIP, we talked about host and non-host communities. We are actually, at the CKIP, we are focusing on the refugee areas and the teachers and all that. But I want you guys to be selfish. Trump is chasing non-Americans from US. And among the reasons is, munawaponda, munakula pesa zao, munapata majob zao. Any other country is doing the same. Even near home, I said we do a lot of recruitment. Nakuja kwenu, wewe uko Turkana, unaniambia I don't belong there. Even if I'm a woman and I'm married there, munasema nirudi kwetu. Now then, if you are doing that to your own brothers and sisters, why do you want your neighbor behind there talked about people taking too long without getting employment? Alafu watu wakikuja kwanza tupatie priority to refugees, surely. Am I communicating? Yes. Kwanza kabisa we deal with our own people, isn't it? But of course, there are opportunities for the refugees to also get opportunity, and especially now through CKIP. So let us restrict ourselves to that. Lakini, our resources remains ours. We are the people who are paying taxes, my friends. But please, kama kuna mtu ameje, don't quote me. But for sure, the government of the day is employed to serve the citizens of the country, isn't it? And that includes creating employment for the country. Sasa ukikuja unipatie pressure. Ukinipatia pressure ya refugee, surely. Na huyo ananiambia kuna mtu hapa hata graduated in 2016. Na ana job. Where do I go? What do I do? I am accountable to the Kenyan citizens. Yes, there are gaps. There are gaps in the teacher, in the staffing gaps. We have them, and I've confirmed more than 72 in junior schools. We still have gaps in senior schools, and we don't have gaps in primary schools. Actually, what we are doing is actually to balance the ones we have. We push some of them where their services are required. And as I have said, and I called upon you, lobby for more money. We need to employ our children to teach. And we need money. Na treasury wakati budget nafanywa, there is a lot of lobbying. Would some lobby from you guys also help to add more money for TSC to employ? Maybe. Go ahead and do that. That is one way. In other words, what I am saying, the government continues employing, setting aside a few amounts of money depending on the availability of funds to recruit a certain number of teachers every year. We will continue doing that, and as the economy improves, we will, of course, the kit will be increased. But beyond that, I mentioned about now the balancing. It is required to be done. I also mentioned about the aspect of probably the upgrade, the upcoming upgrade. Actually, sooner than later, the KICD will be doing a curriculum for that. So that those excess teachers we are talking about in primary, can they be upgraded to qualify to teach in junior school? Because there is no other way out. As I said, and the partners will not give us money to employ. It is from our pockets. I don't know whether it's a high time, I don't know. I'm only saying, and I hope people from National Treasury are not there. Tuambiwe kwa tax kashiringi kamoja matano tano inaingia kwa employment of teachers so that we ensure that all schools are well staffed with the teachers. But we need money to employ. We will continue doing that. And part of the reason why we bring in the internship is to bridge the gap, because employing a teacher on PNP is very costly. What do? We postpone the issue of employing, for example, 20,000 teachers permanently, and we make them PNP. I mean, we make them interns. They serve for a period before they are confirmed. And that also helps us in bridging the gap. But we will continue doing that. As he had raised the issue about how do we engage with the other professional bodies to see where do we get. But they will still require money to be paid. Kwa hivyo, we still need money. Money every other time. We need that money. The issue about retooling of private school teachers. Yes, I agree. There are no private students. There are no private learners. We have private schools. But get it this way. If I ask you, how many private school teachers do we have? We don't know. Do you know that? We don't have that. You can only ask me as a proprietor of a private school how many teachers I have. But remember, they also come and go. Anakuja, akipata TSC na employ, anakibia. Ama anatoka hapo, anasikia shule nyingine ya Joseph ni nzuri, anakibilia huko. So what do we do therefore? When we are budgeting, we budget for our teachers. Because we know the numbers. Then we communicate, even through their association for private schools, association or whatever they call, there is an office, national office. We tell them, we shall be training in these areas. As long as you are able to feed your people and facilitate their transport to the venue, we shall train them. Surely, is it bad? For your information, and I am sure you know, there is no, like now they are training. Only God knows when they will get that money. But because our teachers are on the payroll, they acknowledge that and they will wait. Because Kega is on the payroll, he will wait. You think an outsider will wait? No. Sasa tutaanza kupigana na watu ambao they are outsiders, they don't understand how we operate. Therefore, please, allow us to always continue that. I am aware of some good private institutions which have been getting even people from KICD to go and facilitate and train. And therefore, wewe kama mzazi, na wewe ambaye unaingiliana na wazazi, why would you campaign or lobby for a school where teachers are not CBE compliant to train your children? And why would their problem be TSC problem? Am I communicating? And encourage those people, the proprietors, to facilitate the training of their teachers. And the least they can do not to call experts to come and train. Let them avail them during the training. We will train them free of charge. Thank you very much. Well, finally, somebody had talked about the 3 teaching subjects per teacher. Actually, for primary school, a primary school teacher is employed to teach all the subjects. But in secondary, we take 2 teaching subjects. However, in diploma, there is always a PE, physical education, as a that teaching subject. What normally teachers are doing, when they realize that some certain areas are more marketable, they are going back to school and taking a third area and coming and requesting that we acknowledge. And we always do it to ensure that they are able to get gainful employment. Asante.
Thank you very much, our TSC. That was very powerful. Thank you even for giving our incoming chair some task. Already we know what to do. And yes, for the interest of time, we are coming to an end of our meeting, but I can see we only have yes, burning questions, but all the same, we are saying that at the interest of time, at this point, we want to welcome our national coordinator, Mr. Joseph, to come and finish there and also take us through the next part. And as he comes, I want us to appreciate our two presenters. Kindly, at the sequence of 5, let's start from 5, 4, 3, 2, and finally 1. Ni sawa sawa? Yes, as he comes, let's prepare for that. Kindly prepare yourself, and then we go 1 to start. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's yours. Yes. Thank you very much. Asante.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Susan, for facilitating that session. It has been a long session. We had a session that was to come after this. We have moved it to tomorrow. Now, I understand there were some certain questions that you still wanted to address. If you can write them down, during the course of tomorrow, we can see whether we can get somebody to provide an appropriate answer. But before we close, I want to address something. One of the critical features of development is the issue of dilemma and complexity. In fact, development cannot happen minus those two entities. In this particular session that we have been in, we have seen a couple of dilemmas and complexity. I will begin with the last one that I was able to identify, the issue of a private versus a public child. Dilemma into some of those issues around private and public schools. The other dilemma has to do with the whole development framework. If I asked you a question, what is the global development framework? What is it? Somebody quickly? What do we refer to when you're talking about development in the whole world, the point of reference? No, you're saying it. Somebody just, the what? SDGs. The SDGs. I'm going to use the SDGs to communicate a very, very interesting dilemma that touches on us as civil society. What is the sustainable goal number 17? What is it? Now, after the world going through what it did through the Millennium Development Goals, comes up with Sustainable Development Goals and says we cannot attain all this without partnership. That drives into chaos the traditional thinking around civil society engagement. Should we remain in antagonism with the government or the state and keep our traditional role because we are afraid to be seen to be together with the state? We can't have both of them. So we choose partnership. When we partner, it does not mean we are sleeping with the state. It only means you're working together to find a solution. Today's conference is a manifestation of partnership. Indeed, your participation is a proof we are not sleeping with the state. I have not been here and just heard everything that the state has said. You guys have gone with it, have you? You have asked questions. This is partnership. When Elimu Yetu becomes a multi-sectorial member of a technical team on an education issue, that is not sleeping with the state. We are trying to find a solution. When the ministry officials were there and they were talking about the steering committee, that is a multi-sectoral team. It's not only the government, it is the civil society, it is the donor world, it is every other person put in the mix. We need to understand that and to get out of that, because the world actually saw this antagonistic thing is not going to help us, but we can still hold the government to account in the spirit of partnership. And that's why they underscored that sustainable development goal number 17 and made it clear we will not be able to move ahead if we do not partner. So forget about sleeping with the government. The other dilemma is the one that we have had. It's complex. It's a dilemma in terms of if we talk about equality, if we talk about inclusion, we cannot avoid applying those principles to everybody, including the marginalized and the refugees. That's again a dilemma. But then again, on the other side, how can we do that and yet we cannot carry our own load? That's again an issue. When the government looks at this point holistically and says, okay, we have a Shirika plan. Let us see how we all subsist in this environment and how we can all work together. That's something as development practitioners, we need to look at it. It's not easy. That's why it's complex. And that's why it's a dilemma. But at the end of the day, what you are saying, as a human race, we want to be better. These are progressive questions that we must address ourselves to. And where we are seated, these questions are inevitable. The most important thing is to address the question, are we moving backwards or are we moving forward? That is the critical issues, but they are not easy. They are not things that you just say this and that. They are complex, and they present dilemmas. Today, we are hosts. Tomorrow, we might be the refugees. When that happens to us, wouldn't we like the principle of equality and inclusion to be applied to us? These are the dilemmas and issues. But the baggage is strong. You should look at TSC. They already have about 300,000 teachers on board. They have a deficit of 100,000. But they still have almost around 300,000 who are well-trained, having the numbers outside. That baggage is very strong. That's why it's a dilemma. It is not easy. It is complex. When we come together and talk about these issues, we make it a little bit lighter. And just one step is something that can help us move ahead. Don't feel guilty. This space is full of dilemmas and complexities. We want to close, and right now, it is my pleasure to ask Susan Ombunya to lead us with a closing prayer. Please, if you can get the microphone to Susan Ombunya. Susan Ombunya is is with Balm of Hope, and she is a member of Elimu Yetu Coalition. Madam, karibu.
Tuamini na tuombe. We can stand up, if you don't mind. Father, we thank you this evening. You've been good to us. When we started this meeting, Lord, we committed all deliberations into your hand, Lord. God, we've been here as civil society, we've been here with partners, we've been here with the government. Father, we've had all issues, Lord, but above all, you've been with us, my Father. Father, we thank you that even as we come to the end of this session, We continue thanking you, Lord. And even tomorrow's session and the next day's session, Lord, we know you're going to be with us. As we live here, Lord, we commit each and every one of us into your hand. We still, Father, commit our families into your hand, my Father. Father, as we work around issues and dilemmas around the globe and even this country, we know, Lord, you're going to give us wisdom to do that. Father, we just pray this, believing and trusting into your holy name. Amen. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now.